This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. I'm in front of the Prince Resort in Cherry Grove, or also known as North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Right in front of the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier here. We've got the moon setting and the sun rising from this vantage point. And I wanted to go ahead and bring up the numbers for the tidal activity and the moon and the sunrise. So you can see that 6:14 right now. And this is the tides near me inside, as it's called here. And I wanted to show you the moon set from this vantage point at this time, where the sun and the moon appear and vanish on the horizon, and also very importantly, their duration of visibility between one another indicates that they are in fact moving above the stationary and level Earth. So it doesn't take very much cloud to block out the sun or the moon. So what I'll do here is just pan on around and show you what it looks like here. This camera doesn't pick up real good lighting in the video mode. It's better in the camera mode, still shots for low light settings. But it is a high powered zoom. It's the Coolpix Nikon P1000. And on a full zoom, it is 125 times magnification, which that is right now. And it's a little breezy, probably 7-mile-an-hour breeze right now. The moon gives off a cool light, her light, and the sun gives off a warm light, his light. This, according to the biblical proclamation, the moon is feminine and the sun is masculine. Job 37 proclaims that the sun is in the midst of the clouds. And I believe the moon is as well. The moonlight and the sunlight, at least, what we observe. So there's a lot of movement on the Earth. However, the Earth is stationary and level and does not move. That's the biblical cosmology, is the Earth is in the center of God's creation. And the sun, moon, and stars move above the stationary level Earth. And the wind moves, the water moves, the people move, the information moves, a lot of disinformation. So is it true? Whatever it is that you want to know about. The truth isn't based on popular opinion. It isn't popular. And it is not an opinion either. It's simply the reality of the situation. Yeah, it's pretty hard for me to get with the wind coming at me, it affects the focus as well. I've got a Facebook presence as well, with a photo album there of many photos of the moon and the sun, and people enjoying the beauty and majesty of creation out here and around the world too, because I've taken pictures of other people's pictures. Most of the pictures on my album I've taken myself. We're facing the Myrtle Beach skyline as well. Under the pier there, that's what the lights are. They're about 25 miles away. And depending on the season and the phase of the moon, it vanishes from this perspective in a lot of different locations. From where it's viewed right now to over behind the Prince Resort at other times of the year, and also where the sun appears in the wintertime is right on over about where the moon rise was last night. You can look at my video from last night if you care to. Now in the summertime, at the furthest point to the right in the middle of where my finger is, that's normally where the sun will come up, and then it will vanish behind the Prince Resort over there. And that's all based on from this vantage point. The Prince Pier is facing directly south. Also, if there's a little bit of cloud in front of the sun, or I mean well, yeah, either the sun or the moon, it can affect the focus also. As best I can tell from the thousands and thousands of photos that I've taken in video and seen from others, the moon is definitely not a sphere. It's not a disc either. It's an odd shape, and you can look at my photo album and videos where you can see the irregular shape of it. Now, at this time, it looks spherical, but as best I can tell, it's not, because of the other phases that I see also. So if this is a thing for you, if you want to know the truth about the biblical cosmology, the reason why it matters is it means that the official narrative of the modern theoretical physicists and the heliocentric or global lie, I'm exposing that group that has brought us the astronomical deception of heliocentrism also gave birth to the godless cosmic Big Bang, or the Big Bang as it's also called. We live in a creation, a created world, not an accident. And according to the biblical proclamation, we have a firmament above the stationary and level earth. We're in like a terrarium. And as you know, there's the biblical cosmology, and then there's the modern narrative that says there's all kinds of rotation of the earth, supposed rotation of over 1,038 miles an hour at the equator, and then other gyrations and wobbling, and none of that can be felt ever. It's never been proven. So I'm not actually a flat earther per se, I'm a biblical creationist. The main point is the accuracy and reliability of the Bible. That's why I do this. And the most important question anybody can ever ask and get the importance of the answer is also correspondingly significant and important Where will you spend eternity and why? So as a biblical creationist, I believe that the Bible speaks that God's children were conceived in His mind before the foundation of the world, well before any of us came to the realization that we should ask God for help or even seek Him. So according to Scripture, the gospel is foolishness to those that are perishing. They're not going to want to know. They're not going to want to hear anything about it. Good morning, Linda. Second Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. So apparently, Satan's children are going to believe the lie they want to believe, and God is going to help them do it. In Paul's letter to the Corinthians, he talks about unless God removes the veil, people will not be able to understand. They will not be able to believe. So people believe a lot of things. That doesn't actually make them God's children, and it doesn't actually make them born again. Simply believing all the right stuff doesn't automatically make somebody a child of God. So, for example, with me, I thought I was born again until I actually was. I thought I was born again in 1982 until I actually was in 2014. So now we've got nighttime turning into daytime. People come from all over the world to enjoy the beauty and majesty of creation here. Last year, apparently, we had approximately 20 million guests. My research library has a compilation of talented producers of content from all over the world. Time-lapse videography and beautiful videography from airplanes and drones. Apparently from Antarctica. However, just because they put a welcome center and a flagpole doesn't mean that it's actually Antarctica where people are taken to. I don't really know. And I don't know the actual height or speed of the sun and the moon. I do know that in the book of, or in the account of Joshua in the Old Testament, Joshua 10, God's word says that He stopped the sun and the moon from moving. And not the earth from spinning. The reason why this matters, once again, is, well, the truth matters. The more important the question, the more important the truthful answer is. Contradictory or diametrically opposed perspectives cannot both be correct. They could in fact both be wrong. That can happen. One of the other dynamics is there's no curvature on the horizon. I'll bring that on down there. That's the x-axis. So if we were on a sphere 25,000 miles in circumference, we would need to see curvature, and it can't be found, can't be measured. Earthcurvature.com, you can check it out if you like. That gives a calculator to be able to see the reality of all that. Eight inches per mile squared means there would be over a 30% grade. Good morning. And that means that in the middle of the United States, from east to west coast, there would be a hump in the middle of the country, roughly 350 miles tall. Over 700 miles of missing curvature. Can't find it. And you can't get a wind chime to hang upside down. You can't get water to stick to a spinning ball. You know, when I came to believe that, when I found out for sure that the Santa Claus lie was in fact that, it was a lie. It was not real. The flying reindeer delivering all the presents in one evening, or lumps of coal to the naughty boys and girls. It was a grand illusion. It was a grand deception. That year is when we had the moon landing hoax. One of the odd things is that apparently President Nixon was able to talk to the astronauts from a landline, an old classic landline. We've got one like it, a phone like that. And there was no delay. No delay in the communications. Supposedly the moon would be 238,000 miles away. And then they say that the sun is over 93 million miles away. Well, none of that is accurate. None of that is real. It's not biblical cosmology, and it's not reality. So I've got video of a wind chime hanging from the pier, talking to people and showing the absurdity of the upside down world. When we have a slanted beach like this, that's probably about a 12% grade or so, 10 to 12, and people will walk vertical. They're not sticking off the side of it. They're walking straight up and down, typically. That's what I notice. I wouldn't even know how you would slant. It doesn't even come natural. It comes natural to stand vertically. What I'm going to do too is, because it's so beautiful, I'll take another video after this one and show the sunrise. And then I'll do it from the same vantage point right here. I've used an infrared thermometer, digital thermometer, to confirm that the light of the moon is actually cooler than the moon shade. Over 7 degrees on a full moon, I've measured. And then the time of the year also matters because of the proximity to the moon, how far away we are from it, or it is from us, is more accurately stated. And I make this available. It's code. You can call me anytime. And if you put the hashtag in a Google search, you should find a lot of content that I've covered, a lot of topics. And I wanted to show you my setup here. When people are driving by on the road, they'll see my setup. A lot of people will come on by and talk to me. People from all over the world actually come here. Some of the basics, some of the simple things to consider. Water seeks level and covers the face of the stationary and level Earth. There would be no level anywhere if the Earth were spinning, wobbling, and of course gyrating. It's not happening. There's no movement of the Earth. And you can go ahead and link any comments, any websites to send me information here too. So higher is drier and lower is wetter all over the face of this stationary and level Earth. It's what it does over and over. We've got a diurnal tide here. I'm going to bring the numbers up again and show you and speak on it. Okay, so right now at 6:35 we've got 15 minutes for the sunrise and 33 minutes from now for the moonset. Being grounded on the Earth, there's an electrical field around the Earth. We've got positively charged atmosphere, and we can see the discharge of the static electricity in the form of lightning. And then also the aurora borealis, or also known as the northern lights. Does that happen in Antarctica? I don't know. Just because people fly a long distance over an ocean, it'd be very easy to be disoriented and not know exactly where the continent is, or the speed traveled in the air. How can we know for sure? There's a grand illusion. Many people are deceived and they don't know it. Many of those deceived individuals are very proud. Pride is a powerful catalyst for deception. They don't know they're deceived and they think they've got it figured out, apparently. I got here because I wanted to know the truth about everything that mattered. Where will I spend eternity and why? The big question that I had was, if I was truly born again, why was I struggling with things I was supposed to be set free from? That was the question that I had. So good morning, good to see y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your public and private encouragement and support. Because of the nature of what we're living in right now, the collapse of our economies worldwide, and the imminent mandatory compliance to the Mark of the Beast system from Revelation 13, I would encourage everybody to get your house in order, because the truth matters for eternity. You could take a picture of the screen of my data and send that. Let me get that a little cleaner. You could send that to anybody if you like, anywhere in the world. So the people from the balconies can see the chairs, and I've got the Truth Mobile. You can see what that looks like if you care to. And that's another way to bypass the digital quarantine and censorship that's going on. I thought I'd walk us down under the pier here so I can get a better shot of the moon set. On my research library, it includes the research library playlist and also the photos that I've taken, the links to my channel and other content producers that are still up and running. I'll zoom in towards the Myrtle Beach skyline where the airport is approximately. If I zoom in much more, it'll just wash out because it'll focus on the water. One of the reasons we can't see other continents over the ocean is because of the moisture. Water, the temperature changes the water volume and density, so for example, the evaporation, condensation, and precipitation in all its forms. Rain, snow, sleet, and fog. Water in reservoirs would be stored up energy. The sun gives off energy, cleans the water. We've got a beautiful created environment, this world that we live in. You can look at the firmament. God opened up the windows of heaven, the fountains of the deep, and caused it to rain for the great flood. I've got Noah's Ark Archaeological Discovery by Ron Wyatt on my playlist. See that if you like. As well as Sodom and Gomorrah if you want to know what God thinks about non-binary. How about that? You can change the plumbing or the padding. Doesn't change the gender. Seek the truth with all your heart because it matters for eternity.